Hey, what's up? I'm here with Cameron. We're gonna go walk through a house and just show you kind of what we do when we get to a house, what we're looking for. So one of the first things I do when I walk up to a house is just kind of look at as I'm walking up to it, just kind of look at, what does it look like? What's the roof look like? What do the gutters look like? Are these fascia ends up here, what do they look like? Ultimately, what I'm trying to do is see if there's anything that I can point out to a buyer. Not nearly as thorough as an inspector, but something. If we find something scary, we don't waste a week and $500 on an inspection. We can kind of know it now ahead of time. So I'm looking for those kinds of things. So in a sense, I am trying to figure out why our buyer should not buy this house. Not really, but you know what I mean. And then I'll let them walk. So I'll just kind of sit here and open the door and just kind of walk behind them quietly. Let them walk around. Just kind of be here to answer questions, but also I'm looking up at the ceiling. I'm looking at all the potential problem areas that might have, something obvious that something's wrong. If there's a roof leak or if there's some major settling or something like that. So do that. We'll normally go to the kitchen about the first because that's the most important thing. Make sure you put a card down. I'm just kind of looking around. The buyer ultimately is the one who's looking, and I'm just kind of here to answer questions, point things out that are special, and also point things out that might be problems. So I like to step near the toilet and just see if I can feel. Sometimes things get covered up, so you can see sometimes, but sometimes you have to feel it. That the flooring is a little bit warped, or it's spongy, or it's just kind of built up a little bit. And what that is water in the type of wood that's used nowadays, which is not solid wood. It's usually either a press board or OSB. When water gets on that stuff, it just swells. So if you can kind of see like a little built up area, it can be tiny little bit, but if you can see something like that, usually that means that there's water absorbing into the wood somehow and causing damage. The garage, I like to look in the garage. Sometimes this is something that people don't look at and you almost have to point it out. Hey, there's a garage. But just quickly look at the furnace. It's fairly new. Look at the water heater. It's fairly new. It's strapped. Everything looks good. I like to look up the piping, which is the vents. These vents have hot air going through them. And when you mix hot air and cold air, you get condensation. So I like to look and see, all the way up through the drywall, just see if there's any moisture, any staining. Usually moisture staining will show up in like a yellowish color. And a lot of times it'll be round. Again, I always look up in the ceilings and I want to see if there's any evidence of moisture staining or any cracks, stuff like that. So one of the questions that comes up a lot, I don't see it a whole lot in this house, but you get little cracks. You get nail pops, so about every 16 inches or 24 inches, whatever, depending on how the house was built, you'll have a little bump. And all that is nail popping out. It's not serious, and it's fairly easy to fix it. I like to look around windowsills too. If the windowsill has a lot of water staining on it, or if it's really gray looking or something like that, then there could be problems. There could be something going on with the window. I also look at the windows themselves, see if they're in good condition, see if they're foggy, see if there's water on the inside of the pane. That means the window eventually has to be replaced. Well, it doesn't have to be, but to be energy efficient and not potentially mess something else up, you should fix the window. Another thing, outlets. So I like to look at outlets and see if there's any black stains on them. See if there's anything weird looking with them. Possible they could have had something like a plug-in plugged in and it just made, you know, a hotspot or something like that. But you also kind of want to know if maybe there's something wrong with the outlet, you know, it's starting to melt. I also like to check underneath the sinks and just kind of see if there's any significant water damage, you know, if any leaks, stuff like that. They always get crap down here from shampoo and from all different kinds of stuff. But you're really looking for like water pooling or mold or anything like that. And this happened to me years ago. I locked myself in a garage one time. I didn't check the doorknob as I was walking into the garage and it automatically locked. I locked myself into a garage. So as habit now, as I open a garage door and I'm walking into it, I'll just kind of check the handle real quick on both sides. So then we're in the back, and this right here is the south-facing wall. So this would be the most weathered out of any wall. So I'm just checking to see if there's any obvious spots of deterioration in the siding or anything like that. Usually it's down at the bottom, and usually it's from nails or seams that are not caulked. So you just kind of walk around and just kind of check stuff out. If you do get to a spot that has a fairly substantial amount of deterioration in the siding, you'll see it. Either the siding will be popped out, or it'll be angled in because all of the stuff in the center is gone, and the only thing left is the paint. Basically, the paint's holding the siding together. And faucets, I like to look around faucets because down here, you know, where the water's dripping or whatever, you know, you can get a lot of siding deterioration there, and usually it happens at the bottom, and that's the hardest part to paint. So another thing is fences. Fences only last so long, and it's the wood usually that are the posts that go. Down here usually it goes another 1.5 to 2 feet or more, and then there's concrete that holds it into place. Well, eventually the top of that board it'll rot, even if it's pressure treated. So I like to just kind of go around fences. It's obvious this fence is probably going to have to be repaired, you know, in the next, I would guess, at least in the next 5 years, if not sooner. You know, eventually this will just fall. So usually this is the stuff that gets the worst, just because you have a lot more areas for water to get. And you know, when water hits, it just runs, you know, it'll run. Water can run up, believe it or not. So that's about it, just kind of checking it out. Usually we'll kind of take another minute and just kind of look around here, and then it's, you know, it's either back to the office or on to the next, you know. So hope you enjoy it. There'll be more. Thanks.